Markets cheer Alcoa as it kicks off a fourth quarter earnings season, beating on revenue. China's exports and imports slow to a 2-year low, raising speculation of more monetary easing. And Fitch says it will not lower France's AAA credit rating in 2012. And the tech event of the year, the Consumer Electronics Show, kicks off today in Vegas. I'm Alex Steele, and the Morning Call starts right now.
Good morning. I'm Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com.
And I'm Alex Steele with The Street, and together we bring you Morning Call Express. Scott, we have the S&P closing in on those October highs. Do we break it and sustain it here?
I sure hope so. I hope some volume comes in, that we get above 1292, we sustain above it, and get away from this area. I know lately, the last week or so, it's been a little methodical, almost a little lethargic, but we've been doing some nice work above the 200-day moving average. We've been able to buy the dip. You know, remember last week we had those 2 or 3 down opens that were bought and we closed well. So today, if you are long, you should be rewarded. Let's hope that you could actually add to positions today and the market just doesn't open up and fade. And
really quickly, are you seeing volume pick up?
No, and that's what people are complaining about.
Right.
People are saying, where's the volume? Like yesterday, the volume was so low. But again, there are stocks moving. There's money to be made. We're not in a perfect environment. We're definitely not in a perfect world. So you got to take what you can get and just use your strategies. And if you're worried about the volume, just trade a little less shares. No big deal.
All right, and before we get to the ones you want to be going long, I want to hit on Alcoa. Reported earnings after the bell was actually in line with analyst estimates, which was pretty impressive. They're guiding a global aluminum growth forecast of 7% for this year, also impressive. They beat on revenues. You trade in this name at all? I know you were long headed into the number.
I was long stocks headed into the number, not Alcoa, because I usually don't trade it, but I did say with Jill, yes, if I had to be long or short, I would be long. It's good that they came out positive. It's good for the overall market because the media loves to talk about Alcoa. But overall, I think it's just good that, you know, the numbers are out, it's something to grab on besides just some of the positive data we're seeing. And if you look here at the chart of the S&P, you know, with the futures up, I just want to go over that quick level. You know, this was the series of higher lows. Here's your October low, November low, December low. So this is technically good. We then broke above this mini downtrend, if you remember that, in late December. Now we've been hovering here, like I said. We're going to be opening above the high of this year. And now the next area is 1292. We get above 1292, and then that 1320, 1340 is in the cards for the first quarter. So things are still technically looking good. All
right, so then how are you trading? You mentioned that this might be a good opportunity to add to those long positions. Where are you at? Which stocks are you looking at?
It's very stock specific. It's been a little bit of a bizarro world. As far as like high beta tech, you just had a really good move in Apple, but you have to take some off in front of earnings. Google had like that 30-point move above the buy price of 630, 635. But if you didn't take some off and trail it, you just got beat up for the last 3 days. As far as Amazon, Baidu, a little weak. And then you have the home builders that have been unbelievable that nobody even wanted to be involved, as well as the banks. You know, as far as like the banks right now, I've been holding JP Morgan. It's been a good long this year. But Goldman Sachs has the setup. Goldman Sachs, I think if we can get above 96.50, which I'll show you right here, I'm going to go after it. You know, as far as performing-wise, it hasn't really performed yet, but as a trade, this looks like a better trade than adding to JP Morgan after such a nice move. So right now, you really have to pick and choose your spots. You have to take trades. You have to use stop losses because there's been like MasterCard in the beginning of the year, got hit early on. You have to know what the composure of the market is and just continue to trade and actively manage your positions.
And we're going to be doing a longer segment on this in the entire Morning Call, talking about those stocks that have a large short float to see if we're going to see a lot of traders get squeezed here and have those stocks pop higher. Is this a good trade, looking at, say, the Netflix or the Green Mountains of the world, or for solar even?
Yeah, that's turned into the best trade of the year. A few days back, we saw Netflix heavily shorted. You know, nice lower base, I said, above 75 on volume. It's a trade. Not only was it a trade that day, then it went above 81. It almost hit 100 yesterday. So that's a big trade. You know, as far as an investor, you weren't rewarded if you got crushed if you didn't time that. But as a trade this year, it was great. There are 3 or 4 stocks we're going to go over in the long firm that I think that have the same type of dynamics, but you have to play them carefully and watch for volume. We'll get into that after.
All right, perfect lead-in. All right, so we will get into them in the entire Morning Call, as well as talking about semiconductors and how their earnings will shape up for the fourth quarter. So stay with us, only at The Street.